What if the same chemical that safely puts you to sleep can also silently destroy the sky above you? How can one family of chemicals be both a medical marvel and an environmental nightmare? For over a century, halogenoalkanes like chloroform changed medicine forever, but their story didn't end there. High in the stratosphere, UV light shatters CFC molecules, freeing chlorine radicals, and that's where the real trouble begins. A single chlorine radical can destroy over 100,000 ozone molecules before it stops, a relentless chain reaction. That's why chlorofluorocarbons carved a hole in our planet's protective ozone layer, a discovery that stunned the world. Governments united to ban CFCs, and now, decades later, the ozone layer is slowly healing, proof that science can fix its mistakes. But what exactly are halogenoalkanes, and how do they undergo these dramatic transformations? Let's find out.
Simply put, replace a hydrogen in an alkane with a halogen, and you get a halogenoalkane, but the magic lies in that polar bond.
That carbon-halogen bond is polarized. The carbon becomes a target for electron-rich attackers, nucleophiles. Carbon-halogen bonds aren't equal. The CF bond is a fortress. The CI bond is a fragile bridge. So iodoalkanes react the fastest. Their weak bond breaks most easily. Fluoroalkanes barely react at all. Because the carbon-iodine bond is so weak, it breaks heterolytically. Iodine takes both electrons and leaves as iodide. Hydroxide ions, with a full negative charge, are far stronger nucleophiles than neutral water molecules, so hydrolysis is faster in alkali. This simple test with silver nitrate lets us see the reactivity order with our own eyes. Iodide fastest, fluoride slowest. Down group 17, bonds get longer and weaker, and that's the heartbeat of halogenoalkane reactivity. Halogenoalkanes are made from alkanes, alkenes, or alcohols, each route a different tool in the chemist's kit. Using thionyl chloride gives a clean, efficient route from alcohol to halogenoalkane, a laboratory classic. In nucleophilic substitution, a nucleophile attacks that electron-poor carbon, and the halide leaves. Simple as that. Heating a halogenoalkane with aqueous sodium hydroxide forms an alcohol, faster than using just water, because OH- is a stronger nucleophile. The key difference? A full charge donates electrons far more eagerly than a partial charge. That's why OH wins. Cyanide ions are also nucleophiles. They attack halogenoalkanes to form nitriles, adding a crucial extra carbon atom to the molecule. That extra carbon atom is a gateway. Nitriles can be turned into carboxylic acids or amines, building larger molecules. With ammonia, halogenoalkanes yield amines. But if we don't use excess ammonia, we get a messy mixture of secondary and tertiary amines. So when making a primary amine, we drown the reaction in ammonia. Otherwise, the product attacks again and again. Think of it like cooking. Too little ammonia, and your product will be contaminated, so always use an excess. So, we've seen 3 key nucleophilic substitutions, all following the same fundamental pattern. But how exactly does it happen? For primary halogenoalkanes, the attack comes from behind, in one swift motion, the SN2 mechanism. But tertiary halogenoalkanes can't be attacked from behind, so they take a different path, the SN1 mechanism with a carbocation intermediate. Alkyl groups push electrons toward the positive carbon. The more groups, the more stable the carbocation. Tertiary wins. The SN2 mechanism is a backside attack. The molecule inverts like an umbrella in a storm, all in one step. SN1 is a 2-step dance. First, the slow break to form a carbocation, then a fast nucleophilic attack. Secondary halogenoalkanes can react by either SN1 or SN2, depending on the conditions. They're the tightrope walkers. But here's a twist. Change the solvent from water to ethanol, and suddenly the reaction takes a completely different path. With ethanolic hydroxide, the OH- acts as a base. It steals a proton, and the halogenoalkane eliminates HBr to form an alkene. Aqueous sodium hydroxide gives substitution, an alcohol. Ethanolic sodium hydroxide gives elimination, an alkene. Conditions control the game. The same hydroxide ion can be a nucleophile or a base. The solvent determines which mask it wears. All 3 electron movements happen in a single concerted step, a beautiful synchronous elimination. Interestingly, both 1-bromopropane and 2-bromopropane can eliminate to form the same propene. synthetic convergence. Remember, the choice of solvent is like choosing between a calm pond and a lightning storm. It defines the reaction's destiny. Alcohols from substitution become solvents and sanitizers. Alkenes from elimination become polymers all around you. Hydrolytic fission, the halogen grabs both electrons, becoming a stable halide ion and leaving a reactive carbocation.
Alkyl groups donate electrons, stabilizing the positive charge. That's why tertiary currents can exist long enough to be attacked.
Those halide ions released during hydrolysis can be caught by silver nitrate, forming colored precipitates, a detective's clue.
All these reactions spring from one starting point, a halogenoalkane. The conditions you choose write the final story.
Everything we've covered builds to one core idea. Halogenoalkanes are shaped by their polar bonds and the conditions we create. When you understand halogenoalkanes, you see a hidden world, the dance of electrons that shapes our modern life. What if you could predict exactly how a molecule will behave, just by looking at its structure? Think of carbon-halogen bonds like guitar strings, tight and strong, or loose and ready to snap. Steric hindrans, the bulky alkyl groups in a tertiary halogenoalkane, block the backside attack, forcing a different mechanism. Thanks to the global ban on CFCs, the ozone layer is projected to heal completely by mid-century, a story of science saving the world. That single chlorine radical is a monster, but it can be tamed, and that's exactly what we did by phasing out CFCs. Modern HFCs contain hydrogen, so they decompose lower in the atmosphere, never reaching the ozone. A smarter design. SN2 is a clean relay handoff. SN1 is a pit stop where a carbocation waits for the next driver. Both get to the finish. And now, when you see a halogenoalkane, you can picture the entire story, from bond polarity to product, from ozone to operation theater. From saving lives to healing the sky, halogenoalkanes are a double-edged sword, and now you know exactly how they work.
Next time you see a plastic, a medicine, or even a fridge, remember the halogenoalkane story and the power of chemistry.
Pause if you need to, but you now have the keys to predict and explain halogenoalkane reactivity.
Whether you're a future doctor, a chemist, or just curious, you're now part of the great chemical conversation.
Thanks for watching. Keep questioning, keep learning, and see the world through the eyes of a chemist.